Tonight I will tell you a story that was given to me by my father, and to him by his father, and so on, like beads passed from hand to hand. It is the story of a place where the river sang day and night, and the reeds swayed like dancers in the wind. A place called Emaswati. Or Emaswati, my children. In those days the village was small, very small. A handful of mud huts clinging to the riverbank, like chicks huddled under the wings of a tired hen. Life was hard. The men went to the river with their nets, but the fish were cunning. Some days, all they brought home was water and disappointment. The women tilled the land, but the soil, it gave grudgingly. Still, the people laughed when they could. They gathered at the fire in the evenings, telling stories to chase away the hunger in their bellies. And above them all was the chief, Nkosi Mlanga, a wise man, but his eyes had grown heavy with the weight of his people's struggles. His only light was his daughter Nomsa. Nomsa, the river's own child. Her skin was like the deep earth after rain, her eyes like the quiet pools where fish hide. But it was her hands, my children, her hands could weave magic. Give her a handful of reeds, and she would return with a mat so beautiful, even the chief's heart looked poor without it. Nomsa did not look down on her people. She walked barefoot among them, carried water with the other women, laughed with the children. Many young men had tried to win her heart, but Nomsa was not swayed by cattle or by sweet words. She wanted a man whose heart was as strong as his hands, and such a man had not yet come to Emaswati. Then, one morning, when the mist still danced on the river, the children saw something unusual. A canoe, narrow and long, gliding over the water like a snake. In it sat a man they had never seen before. His clothes were not the rough cloth of Emaswati, no. He wore a long, colorful tunic stitched with patterns like the wings of strange birds. On his back was a pack, big and full. As he stepped onto the bank, the sun caught his face. He had the eyes of a man who had traveled far. He greeted the first fisherman he saw with a smile, and introduced himself, Mandla, I am a trader. The people gathered. Mandla opened his pack, and their eyes grew wide. Fabrics with colors brighter than a spring sunset. Salt, white as foam, smooth as ground stone. Beads that danced in the light, as though the stars had fallen into his hands. The women gasped, the men nodded in approval, the children could not stop touching the strange treasures. But Emaswati was poor. What could they give? Fish? Grain? Even their cattle were few. Mandla smiled and said, I do not only trade for goods, I trade for ideas. That night, Mandla sat by the fire. He looked at the river reeds swaying under the moonlight. He watched Nomsa weaving a mat near the chief's hut. Her fingers moved like they were telling an old secret. He got up, walked over, and sat beside her. These mats, he said softly, are not just mats. They are gold. Nomsa laughed. Gold? They are just reeds and my hands. No, said Mandla. In the markets I have seen, far beyond this river, people will give cattle for work like this. They will give coins and cloth. Your village sits on treasure, and you do not even know it. Nomsa's hands paused. For the first time, she looked at him not as a stranger, but as a man who might see something she could not. The next day, Mandla asked the chief to gather the people. He stood before them and said, You have reeds. You have skilled hands. I have a canoe, and I know the markets far from here. Let me take your mats, and I will bring back what your hearts need, tools, seeds, cloth, salt. The chief hesitated, but Nomsa spoke up. Baba, we have tried fishing, farming, and still our children go to bed hungry. Let us try this. Let us see where Mandla's words can take us. The chief agreed. The women wove, the men gathered reeds, the children helped carry them. Mandla loaded his canoe with mats so fine that even he was amazed. Then he was gone, the river carrying him away. Days passed. Then, one morning, the children saw the canoe again, heavy with goods. Mandla had returned with salt, iron tools, cloth, beads, even a young goat for the chief's hut. The people danced that night until the moon grew tired of watching them. Season after season, the trade continued. Mandla's visits became more than just business. He helped repair huts, taught the young men how to carve paddles, shared stories from lands beyond their dreams. Nomsa found herself waiting for the sound of his canoe on the water. Mandla, too, began to linger longer with each visit. He would sit with her as she wove, his fingers brushing against hers as he learned the craft. But their love was not just in stolen glances. One season, when heavy rains flooded the river, Mandla stayed in the village for weeks. He helped rebuild a collapsed hut, brought food to the sick, and carried water for the old. The people began to see him not as a stranger, but as one of their own. By the time the rains ended, Mandla knew his hut belonged to Emaswati and to Nomsa. Mandla went to the chief. Nkosi Mlanga, I have come not to trade but to ask. I love your daughter. I wish to marry her if you will allow it. The chief's eyes were sharp. You are a trader, Mandla. Traders come and go. Why should I give you my daughter? Mandla's voice was steady. Because I will not just take her. I will stay. Emaswati has given me a home. I want to give it my life. The chief asked for a bride price, not of cattle alone, but of service. Mandla agreed to teach the young men of Emaswati the trade routes, the market ways, the art of bargaining. For one full season, Mandla worked, trained, and built. When the wedding day came, the village was filled with colors brighter than the fabrics he had first brought. Drums called out to the hills, women's voices rose in song, and Mandla and Nomsa were joined under the old fig tree by the river. The marriage was more than love, it was the binding of two futures. With Mandla's knowledge and Nomsa's skill, the Emaswati became a place of abundance. Canoes left the riverbank heavy with mats, and returned with goods the village had never dreamed of. The chief's hut grew, children wore bright clothes, the women had pots that did not crack after one season. Even the poorest hut had food. And at the heart of it all was the love between Mandla and Nomsa, a love the people said gave the reeds their strength. Mandla built a large workshop by the river, where the young learned to weave and trade. Nomsa taught the girls patterns that told the stories of their people. The village did not just become rich in goods, it became rich in pride, in hope, and in the joy of working together. So, my children, that is how Emaswati changed. A stranger came with a canoe and a dream, but he stayed for love. The river still flows there, the reeds still dance, and the mats they weave still carry the story of Mandla and Nomsa. Remember this, wealth is not just in the coins you hold, but in the hands you hold, the work you share, and the love that ties your hearts together. For gold may fade, but a united people, they shine forever. Please subscribe to this channel for all amazing stories, because we only share educated evening stories. So stay tuned and see you in the next videos.